Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Hong Kong Ghost Stories. I'm your narrator, Simon. Have you ever thought about what happens if you never make it to the most important day of your life? What if death itself couldn't stop you from reaching that one moment you'd been waiting for? I have a story that will haunt you. So buckle in, because what you're about to hear actually happened in Chinese folklore. We're never truly alone when we die. The moment death comes, two ancient guardians appear to escort the soul to the underworld. Oxhead and Horseface. Towering figures with the heads of beasts and bodies of men, they serve Yenlo Wang, the king of hell himself. They are not evil. They are cosmic enforcers, maintaining the delicate balance between the living and the dead. But here's what most people don't know. When these guardians appear to the living, it's never by accident. It means death has already claimed someone nearby, or is about to. Throughout Asia, there have been countless sightings, and every single time they're seen, tragedy follows. Tonight's story comes from a woman named Lisa, who witnessed something that should have been impossible. She was part of a group of bridesmaids waiting for their best friend Emily on the night before her wedding. What happened that night would change everything they believed about life, death, and the space between. Lisa and four other women had been Emily's closest friends since university. Even after graduation pulled them in different directions, they stayed tight. Monthly dinners, weekend trips, late-night calls when life got hard. They were more than friends. They were sisters. When Emily announced her engagement 6 months earlier, everyone cried happy tears. Emily was the first in their group to get married, and they were all so excited for her. The wedding was planned for a Saturday afternoon at a beautiful countryside venue about 2 hours outside Guangzhou. Because the location was so remote, Emily had booked a charming boutique hotel nearby for everyone to stay Friday night. The plan was perfect. The bridesmaids would arrive Friday afternoon. Emily would join them that evening after finishing last-minute preparations with her family, and they'd have one final celebration together before she became a wife. None of them knew Emily's phone would stop transmitting location data at exactly 5:30 p.m. that Friday. Lisa and the others arrived at the hotel around 3 p.m. The place was beautiful but unsettling, surrounded by empty rice fields with a dark river snaking behind the property. The nearest town was 15 minutes away. As they checked in, Lisa noticed how quiet everything was. No traffic sounds, no voices, just wind rustling through the fields and the distant sound of water. They gathered in the largest suite to wait for Emily, ordering food and setting up drinks. By 6 p.m., they were getting hungry. By 7 p.m., they started checking their phones. By 8 p.m., the jokes about Emily running late began to feel forced. Maybe her battery died, someone suggested. Or her future mother-in-law is still lecturing her about proper wife behavior. Another joked nervously. But no one was really laughing anymore. At 9 p.m., Lisa's hands were shaking as she dialed Emily's mother. "Hi, Mrs. Chun, it's Lisa. I'm sorry to bother you, but is Emily still with you?" "What? No, she left hours ago." Emily's mother sounded confused. "She took a taxi at 5 p.m. She should have been there by 6:30 at the latest." The room went silent. Lisa felt her stomach drop. She never arrived. The panic in Mrs. Chen's voice was immediate. "What do you mean she never arrived? Where is my daughter?" They tried Emily's phone again, and again, straight to voicemail. They called the taxi company, but tracking down the specific driver would take time. As the minutes crawled by, the celebration mood in that hotel room curdled into something cold and sick. Lisa walked to the window, staring out at the darkening countryside. Fog was rolling in from the river, thick and unnatural, swallowing the landscape. "She's fine," Jenny said behind her, but her voice wavered. I don't know, maybe she asked the driver to stop somewhere. She'll call any minute." But 10 p.m. came, then 10:15, then 10:30. That's when they heard it. Footsteps in the hallway. Slow, deliberate, and underneath, the distinctive sound of wheeled luggage being dragged across carpet. Everyone froze. The footsteps stopped right outside their door. 3 soft knocks. "Girls?" The voice was muffled but unmistakable. "It's me. Sorry I'm so late. Emily." The relief was instantaneous. Lisa practically ran to the door and flung it open. And there stood Emily. But something was immediately terribly wrong. Emily was soaking wet. Not damp, soaking. Her hair hung in dripping ropes across her face. Water ran down her arms and pooled on the carpet beneath her. Her lips had a faint blue tint. She was shivering so violently her teeth chattered. "Emily! Oh my God!" Lisa pulled her inside. "What happened?" Emily's smile didn't reach her eyes. The taxi, there was an accident. We went off the road, into the river near the old bridge. Her voice was flat, mechanical. I had to swim out, but I'm okay. I'm here now. She dragged her suitcase behind her. It was completely waterlogged, leaving a dark trail across the floor. You need a hospital, Jenny insisted. Now. No. Emily's voice turned sharp, almost aggressive. No hospital. The wedding is tomorrow. I can't miss it. I just need to dry off. The force in her words shut down any argument. This wasn't like Emily at all. Emily was gentle, accommodating, soft-spoken. But there was steel in her voice now. Almost desperation. They helped Emily into the bathroom, got her dry clothes, wrapped her in blankets. But as Lisa held Emily's hand to steady her, she felt it. Emily's skin was ice cold. Not just cold from the water. It was the deep, bone-penetrating cold of something that had been submerged for hours, not minutes. After Emily changed into dry clothes borrowed from the bridesmaids, they all settled into the main suite. Emily sat cocooned in blankets near the heater, still shivering. The blue tint on her lips hadn't faded. If anything, it looked darker now. Emily, please. Lisa knelt beside her friend. Let us take you to a hospital. You could have hypothermia. You were in that river. I said no. Emily's voice cut like a blade. Her eyes snapped to Lisa's with an intensity that made Lisa flinch back. The wedding is in 11 hours. I just need rest. The room went quiet. Jenny and Michelle exchanged uncomfortable glances. This wasn't Emily. Emily never snapped. Emily was the peacemaker, the one who apologized even when she wasn't wrong. This sharp, aggressive edge in her voice felt wrong, like someone else was speaking through Emily's mouth. After a tense moment, Jenny tried a softer approach. Okay, we understand, but at least tell us what happened. How did the taxi go into the river? Emily stared at the wall as she spoke, her voice flat and distant. The driver was going too fast. There was so much fog. We couldn't see anything. The old bridge, you know, the one with that sharp turn, we just missed it. Went straight off the road. She paused, and for a moment her expression flickered with something that looked like confusion. Or fear. The car hit the water and started sinking immediately. The water was so cold, so dark. I couldn't get my seatbelt off at first. I thought I was going to drown. Her voice dropped to barely a whisper. It was so dark down there. What about the driver? Lisa asked quietly, though part of her didn't want to know the answer. Emily's face remained expressionless. Empty. I don't know. I got out. I swam up. It was so far up. I couldn't see him anymore. The weight of those words settled over the room like a shroud. If Emily had escaped, but the driver hadn't. We need to call the police, Michelle said firmly. If he's still down there. I already called them. Emily's response was immediate, almost too quick. From the roadside. Before I got another ride here. They're handling it. Please, I don't want to talk about it anymore. The way she said it, so final, so cold, shut down any further questions. But Lisa's journalist instincts were screaming that something was off. If Emily had called the police hours ago, why hadn't they contacted Emily's mother? Why hadn't anyone reached out to the bridesmaids? And if Emily had gotten another ride to the hotel, where was that driver? Why hadn't Emily mentioned them? Lisa excused herself to use the bathroom. As she walked past Emily's wet clothes hanging on the shower rod, the smell hit her again, stronger now. It wasn't just unpleasant. It was wrong. River water should smell earthy, maybe a bit fishy. This smelled stagnant, rotten, like a pond where nothing living could survive. She looked closer at the clothes. In the bathroom light, she could see dark stains that weren't just dirt. They had a greenish tint. And caught in the fabric were pieces of something organic, waterlogged weeds, but not the bright green of fresh river plants. These were dark, decomposing, the kind of growth that only appears in water that hasn't moved in months. How long had Emily been in that water? When Lisa returned to the main room, she found the others trying to lighten the mood. Jenny had suggested drinks and games, nothing wild, just enough to distract Emily and help her relax before the big day. Come on, Em. Jenny poured wine into glasses. It's your last night as a single woman. We have to celebrate. Emily smiled, or at least her mouth formed the shape of a smile. Of course. You all should drink. Celebrate for me. And that's when Lisa noticed the pattern. Emily kept insisting everyone else drink, filling their glasses, making toasts. But she barely touched her own wine. She'd lift the glass to her lips, tilt it slightly, but Lisa never saw her actually swallow. It was performative, like Emily was mimicking the act of drinking without actually doing it. Every question about the wedding or tomorrow's schedule received the same rehearsed answers. What time is hair and makeup? 9 a.m. What about photos? Starting at noon. Are you nervous? Just excited. The responses came too quickly, too automatically, like a recording playing back. And she was still so cold. An hour had passed. Emily sat directly beside the heater, wrapped in 3 blankets. But when Jenny accidentally brushed against Emily's arm while reaching for snacks, she gasped. "Em, you're freezing. The heater isn't working?" "I'm fine," Emily said quickly, just still chilled from the water. But that didn't make sense. The human body doesn't stay cold like this. Not after an hour in a warm room. Not unless. Lisa pushed the thought away. She was being paranoid. Emily was here, alive, talking. She was just traumatized from the accident. That was all. Around midnight, Michelle yawned. "We should probably get some sleep. Tomorrow's going to be a long day." Everyone agreed. The bridesmaids started gathering their things to head to their respective rooms. Emily would sleep in the suite. But as Lisa reached the door, Emily's hand shot out and grabbed her wrist. The grip was strong. Too strong. Lisa felt Emily's fingers digging into her skin like iron bands. "Lisa, wait." Emily's voice was urgent, desperate. "Stay with me. Please. I don't want to be alone tonight." Lisa looked into Emily's eyes and felt ice spread through her chest. Emily's eyes were the right color, the same warm brown Lisa had known for years. The same shape, the same small flecks of gold near the pupils. But they were wrong somehow, like looking at a photograph of eyes rather than actual living eyes. There was something missing, some essential spark of life that should have been there but wasn't. "Of course," Lisa heard herself say, her voice sounding far away. "I'll stay." The others left, their goodnights echoing in the hallway. The door clicked shut, and suddenly the room felt much larger, much emptier, despite Emily being right there. Emily lay down on one bed, still wrapped in her blankets. Lisa took the other bed, but she didn't even try to sleep. She lay there in the darkness, listening, waiting for the sound of Emily's breathing. But there was nothing. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Then 15. Emily didn't move. Not once. No shifting to get comfortable. No adjusting the blankets. No rolling over. And most disturbing, no breathing sounds. No soft inhales or exhales. No rustling of fabric from her chest rising and falling. Nothing. Complete, absolute silence from Emily's bed. Lisa's heart was pounding so loud, she was sure Emily must be able to hear it. She wanted to call out, to ask if Emily was awake, but something kept her frozen. Some primal instinct screaming at her to stay quiet, to not draw attention to herself. Finally, she couldn't take it anymore. "Emily?" Her voice sounded too loud in the darkness. "Are you awake?" Instantly, with no pause, no grogginess, no moment of waking up, Emily responded. "Yes. I'm awake." Lisa's blood ran cold. There had been no lag time. No sleep-confused mumble. Emily had been lying there in complete silence, not breathing, fully conscious the entire time. Are you okay?" "I'm fine." A pause. Then, "Just thinking about tomorrow." "Emily, I need to ask you something." Lisa sat up, her voice shaking. "Are you really okay? I mean, really?" Long silence. So long that Lisa thought Emily might not answer. Then, in a voice that sounded like it was coming from somewhere far away, somewhere deep underwater. "I have to be there tomorrow, Lisa. Do you understand? I have to be at my wedding. I can't miss it. I can't." The desperation in those words was heartbreaking. But underneath it was something else. Something that sounded less like determination and more like obligation. Like Emily wasn't choosing to be at that wedding. Like something was compelling her, forcing her, giving her no choice. Lisa lay back down, pretending to sleep, but kept her eyes slightly open, watching. Around 2 a.m., Emily sat up. The movement was wrong, too smooth, too fluid, like a puppet being lifted by strings rather than a person using muscles to rise. She stayed sitting on the edge of the bed for several minutes, completely motionless. Not swaying, not adjusting her position, just sitting, frozen like a statue. Then she stood and walked to the window, and there she stayed, standing at that window, staring out into the darkness, for over an hour. She didn't shift her weight, didn't move her arms, didn't even seem to blink. Lisa watched, frozen in terror, unable to look away. And then she saw them again. Outside in the parking lot, much closer than before, stood Oxhead and Horseface. In the moonlight, Lisa could see them more clearly now. Oxhead towered at least 9 feet tall, his massive bovine head crowned with curved horns that gleamed like polished bone. He carried a long staff topped with a glowing lantern. Horseface stood beside him, his elongated equine skull eyeless but somehow still seeing, heavy chains coiled in his massive hands. They were looking directly up at Emily's window. And Emily, still standing motionless at the glass, raised one pale hand and pressed it flat against the window pane. The guardians didn't move. They simply stood there waiting. Patient. Eternal. Lisa must have made a sound, a whimper, a gasp, something, because Emily's head snapped around with impossible speed. In the darkness, Emily's eyes caught the moonlight and reflected it back like an animal's eyes. Like a cat's eyes. Like something that wasn't human. "Go to sleep, Lisa," Emily said. But it wasn't entirely Emily's voice anymore. It was layered, echoed, like two voices speaking in unison. One Emily's, one something else, something older and colder and already gone. Lisa squeezed her eyes shut and didn't open them again until dawn. Lisa woke to sunlight streaming through the window. For a brief moment, she thought maybe she'd dreamed everything. The cold skin, the glowing eyes, the guardians waiting outside. Maybe it had all been a nightmare brought on by stress and wine. But then she saw Emily's bed. It was empty. The blankets were folded with unnatural precision. Perfectly creased corners, edges aligned, the kind of hospital-perfect folds no one makes in a hotel room at dawn. No wrinkles. No indentations from a body that had supposedly slept there. Lisa's phone buzzed. A group message from the other bridesmaids. "We're grabbing breakfast downstairs." "Emily up yet?" Lisa looked around the room. The bathroom door was open. Emily wasn't there. Her wet suitcase was gone too. Maybe she'd moved to another room to get ready for the wedding? Lisa quickly dressed and headed downstairs to the hotel restaurant where the others were waiting. They sat at a corner table, chatting quietly, tired but excited for the day ahead. "Is Emily coming down?" Jenny asked, sipping her coffee. "I don't know. She was gone when I woke up. I thought maybe she was with one of you." They all shook their heads, exchanging confused glances. A cold feeling crept over Lisa. "Did anyone see her this morning?" "At all. I saw her," Michelle said slowly. "Around 6 a.m. I couldn't sleep, so I went for a walk around the hotel grounds. I saw her standing by the river behind the hotel." She paused, frowning at the memory. "I called out to her, but she didn't hear me. She was just staring at the water, standing completely still. The river." Lisa felt ice spread through her veins. "Let's call her," Jenny suggested, already pulling out her phone. She dialed Emily's number and put it on speaker. It rang once, twice, 3 times, then voicemail. They tried again. Same thing. "This is weird," Michelle said, her voice tight. "Why wouldn't she answer? The wedding starts in 4 hours." Lisa stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. "We need to go to her room. Now." They rushed upstairs to the suite where Emily was supposed to be staying. Lisa knocked hard on the door. No answer. She tried the handle. It was unlocked. The room was empty. The bed Lisa had slept in was unmade, her belongings still scattered on the nightstand. But Emily's bed looked like no one had touched it since housekeeping had made it days ago. On Lisa's nightstand sat Emily's phone, the one they'd just been calling. She'd left it behind. Why would she leave without her phone? Jenny whispered. Lisa walked slowly to the bathroom, dread building with each step. The wet clothes from last night were still hanging there, but they looked different in the harsh morning light. The fabric wasn't just stained. It had traces of green algae clinging to it, actual plant matter woven into the fibers. And the smell was overpowering now, the unmistakable stench of stagnant, polluted water. Water that had been still for months. Maybe years. Lisa's hands shook as she pulled out her phone and called Emily's mother. "Hello, Lisa? Is everything okay?" Mrs. Chen answered immediately, her voice tight with poorly concealed anxiety. "Mrs. Chen, I need to ask you something. What taxi company did Emily use last night?" "Greenleaf Taxi." "Why? Did something else happen?" Lisa's throat felt tight. "We need to talk to them. Emily's acting strange. Can you call them and find out which driver picked her up?" There was a long pause on the other end. When Mrs. Chen spoke again, her voice was shaking. "Lisa, the police called me last night, around midnight." Lisa's heart stopped. "What?" "They found a taxi in the river. Near the old bridge, the one with that dangerous turn everyone avoids at night. The driver, he drowned. They pulled the car out around 11 p.m. Lisa couldn't breathe. What about the passenger?" "That's what I don't understand," Mrs. Chin continued, her voice breaking. The police said there was evidence of a passenger, a woman's purse in the back seat, a suitcase in the trunk. But no body. They thought she must have survived and swam out. They've been trying to identify her, to make sure she's okay. The room was spinning. Lisa gripped the edge of the sink. What time did the accident happen? They estimate around 5:30 p.m., based on when the driver's last GPS signal was recorded. 5:30 p.m. But Emily had arrived at the hotel at 10:30 p.m. Emily had knocked on their door 5 hours after the crash. 5 hours after the car had been pulled from the river. 5 hours after police had already been at the scene. Mrs. Chen, I need you to come here. Right now. And bring David, Emily's fiancé. Something is very, very wrong. Lisa hung up and turned to face the others. Her voice was barely above a whisper as she explained what Mrs. Chen had told her. That's impossible, Jenny said, but her voice lacked conviction. We all saw her. We all talked to her. She was here. She was real. Was she? Lisa's voice cracked. Think about it. Did she really drink anything? Did she eat anything? Did anyone actually touch her besides me? They looked at each other, trying to remember. The truth settled over them like a suffocating blanket. Emily had stayed wrapped in her blankets the entire time. She'd encouraged everyone else to drink, but had she consumed anything herself? Had she even really moved? I touched her, Lisa said quietly. Her skin was ice cold, even after hours by the heater. And last night, she swallowed hard. Last night, I watched her stand at that window for over an hour without moving. She didn't breathe. Not once. And when she looked at me, her eyes, Lisa's voice broke. Her eyes glowed, like an animal's. What are you saying, Lisa? Michelle's voice was barely audible. I'm saying Emily died in that river yesterday evening at 5:30 p.m. And what came to our hotel room last night? Lisa couldn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. The words hung in the air. No one wanted to believe it, but they all knew deep down in that primal part of the brain that remembers ancient truths that it was real. But where is she now? Jenny asked, tears streaming down her face. If she was a ghost, where did she go? Lisa remembered Michelle's words. Michelle, you said you saw her by the river this morning. Show us where. They ran downstairs and out to the back of the hotel property, where a small tributary river ran through the grounds. Michelle led them to the exact spot where she'd seen Emily standing at dawn. There, at the edge of the water, they found Emily's suitcase. The same waterlogged suitcase from last night. It was open. Inside, there were no clothes. Only waterlogged river weeds, thick mud, and decomposing plant matter. The smell was overwhelming, death and decay and stagnant water. And there, floating face down in the shallow water just a few feet from shore, still wearing the dry clothes they had given her last night, was Emily. Someone screamed. Lisa felt her legs give out. This couldn't be real. This couldn't be happening. They pulled Emily from the water, but it was immediately obvious she'd been dead for hours. Her skin was bloated and pale, lips blue-gray, eyes clouded. The medical examiner would later confirm that based on the condition of the body and water in the lungs, Emily had died the previous evening in the taxi accident. Her body had been in the water all night. So who or what had been in their hotel room? As Lisa knelt by Emily's body, sobbing, she looked up through her tears and saw them one final time. Standing at the edge of the forest across the river were Oxhead and Horseface. They stood perfectly still in the morning mist, watching. Their job was done. They had waited all night for Emily's spirit to finish what she needed to do. To say goodbye to her friends one last time. To spend her final night before the wedding she would never have with the people she loved most. And now that her lingering attachment was resolved, now that she'd fulfilled her last earthly desire, the guardians could finally take her soul to where it needed to go. As Lisa watched through her tears, the two figures turned slowly and walked into the forest, their massive forms dissolving into the shadows and mist. Emily's spirit had moved on.